Yamakita-san, good evening. Thank you very much for coming. We are talking about tourism, which is probably the most growing part of Japanese economy, and a lot of lights are on this industry today and on JTB. In Japan, it seems to me that tourism does not seem so important in Japan, or not so much a priority like in other countries in Asia. Do you think it's slowly changing?
Well, I don't think it's true that the Japanese government is very much focusing on the tourism itself, and that was based on the Tourism Development Act in Japan.
Okay.
And that is going to be more important in Japan to welcome foreign tourists to Japan and to promote the destination for the economy development too.
There is a gap, it seems, between domestic tourism and foreign tourism. Like my parents or my friend, they come for long stay, big families. Japanese are more short stay, sometimes shorter group, and very focused, like Golden Week or Obon. Do you think these two clientele will merge, or do you think they stay separate?
You mean domestic and foreign tourism?
Very different demand.
Demand, yes. There's two different demand between the
locals,
local Japanese and
foreigners. They stay,
foreign tourists to Japan, right? Obviously there's a very big difference between these two segments of the market. For the domestic travelers, they have less barrier to travel, so that they experience more deep in Japan, and they more focused on the food, gastronomy part, and the experience. For the foreign tourists, it depends on the individual market. So, like French people, right? French people really want to experience something very unique, while the major part of the market tend to experience the Japanese bullet train and the food and the typical ones. So that's very different. So it's not like this part and this part.
Okay.
Everyone different.
There has been a debate recently about a word called Kanko Kogai, which is a very strong word. Kogai is a very, very aggressive word in Japanese, and even when you talk to local players, they're afraid there's kind of a bad image. Do you think little by little this will be absorbed?
Yes, I don't know who started talking about Kanko Kogai, right? It's basically the over-tourism issue, right? So over-tourism happens, because of the concentration, time and place, right? So Japan is a very long island, and there are lots of different places to visit. That's why there's much more potential. Japanese destination should be dispersed, right? And the problem is too much concentration is in Tokyo and in Kyoto, and this line, But we created a new route for the Japan seaside, and so routing is very important. Japan seaside, Setouchi Island, and Kyushu and Hokkaido, there should be a new routing. That's one of the things. And the other thing is the, decentralization of timing of the visit. So utilizing digital technology, we offering each destination the booking process, time slot booking to visit. So in many cases, the very popular destination is very small town, a small village, where the access is limited. There is a traffic jam, and the residents are really suffered from that traffic jam. So that create the conflict between the residents and the tourists. So we decided to make it controlled by visiting time, and that totally solved the problem. So that's one of the example how to disperse.
You think we could change, like in France, the calendar with Obon and Golden Week are very different time?
Yes, trend is more, particularly because of pandemic, people stayed at home, and there was a big more chance to visit during the weekdays, right? So the new trend is a little bit more, separate timing, visit, but still very much concentrated in the major holidays.
There has been a debate as well recently about niju kakaku, of double pricing of restaurants. Do you think it's a fair debate, or do you think it will disappear as well?
Well, I don't think that's not that's not necessarily the niju kakaku. There's always a dynamic pricing all the time. During the very peak season, the price is higher, and every day, depending on the demand,
And booking or not booking. So it should be more perhaps explained or more.
Yeah, I think that's a natural trend, and yeah.
Japan is the country which has no stars for the hotels. Do you think this system should be good to clarify the supply?
Well, I think more clarification is necessary for that in order to accept the foreign tourists. For Japanese, the tourism travel company like us categorize the hotel or ryokan in the high-end category and middle-end category. So this is branded like that, and this works very well.
Okay.
So for Japanese travelers, it's not really a serious problem. But for the international travelers, it's a little bit difficult to understand, right? Yeah.
Where do you think Japanese supply should be better? For example, perhaps more rooms for families, perhaps, or more flexibility. We see, as you said, flexibility perhaps in the railway tickets in the future. Where do you see some areas of progress for Japan as a destination?
One thing is the decentralization of destination, even for the Japanese domestic traveler. The flexibility is really necessary, and that's being implemented by the train company, by the hotels. Very much dynamic pricing is being realized, but under progress, right? And what is more important is to develop the activities while they stay in the destination. So we are working together with the activity players. In many cases, each activity player is a very small company, or family-run company. So we are supporting the digital platform, right, for them, so that they can distribute their very unique product to all over the world. Right?
Do you think tourism by car should be developed in Japan for the countryside, for example?
Well, car, there is the pros and cons. There should be more rent-a-car in some areas, but I think in the future, the electric car and also EV plus automatic driving car is essential for the destination, and also considering the environment. What we are trying to do is not only preparing the EV car, but let people use the public transportation to the destination, and we create the central base, gathering base in front of the station, like Kawaguchiko, where the over-tourism is happening, right? We established the nice building where people can get access by the public transport and get the information there, and the transportation from here by bike, e-bike, and some other transportation, EV vehicle to the mountain places, where we created 2 places named the Twin Terrace, where people can overview Mount Fuji. That's a very good way to improve.
How do you view now the episode of Kawaguchiko? Now it's over, right? They took out the black fence, if I'm correct. Yeah. How did you feel about this episode?
Yeah, people went a little bit extreme, reacted. But that was true that too many people was in the same place, just getting information by the social media, and this really disturbed the life of the people over there, right? And that was really dangerous, So, what happened, was okay, but that was why we developed the system like that, and more places where people can overview the Mount Fuji, and that information is really necessary for that.
As for JTB company, we saw that there is the number of people coming to Japan has went above the number of people leaving Japan. So I guess your company has to completely transform itself. How do you transform yourself?
That's the current trend. Inbound is very much, and the outbound is very limited. Of course, we're shifting the resources to the inbound to some extent, but still the overseas travel from Japan is a really important segment, and that has to be promoted for the future. Otherwise, the tourism is based on the two-way communication, right? And if the suspension of the overseas travel from Japan is last long, Japanese people are not exposed to global. Yeah, and this will disturb in the future the inbound trip promotion, right? Because people should know how the people are traveling in the world, and that should be applied to the inbound promotion too. Right?
So now we see the goal of 60 million tourists is still there. Do you think it's possible to reach 60 million?
I think it is really possible, right? Considering the Japan's destinations diversity and the capacity throughout Japan. Only problem is too much concentration in some places, right? So I think it is really possible in 2030, right? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor.